All right. Well, welcome. Easy for you to say. Welcome to our Beers in the Vac. It's September 30th. Going to talk a little bit about the Step 1 stocks numbers that the USDA gave us and the small grain summary. Even though I don't care about wheat, I figured you and Scott can find something to talk about.
Sure.
What's your top line take on the what the USDA told us today?
Stocks of corn were larger than expected. So that's the finish for last year's crop, 24-25. So that'll add into this year's crop. They made a revision upward in last year's crop a little bit, not much there. We didn't get a WASDE today, so all this gets incorporated on October 9th. So you're leaving it up to the analysts to do the driving.
Assuming the government's still open.
Assuming the government is still open by hook or by crook, we'll get it, if not in October and November, incorporated into an official USDA number. Wheat production revised up sharply. That was a little bit shocking. And even though we're going to feed more wheat than we originally thought, we've got plenty of wheat and corn now, and soybeans have their own bearish story. So,
yeah, having to do with no China.
Chinese not buying any U.S. soybeans.
Yeah. Probably didn't plan the call to talk about the fire sale that Indonesia had last week, but a lot of people asking the question, did the Chinese buy enough beans from Argentina to kind of tide them over till Brazilian new crop so they can continue to stiff arm us on export purchases? But that's probably another topic for another day.
Yeah, probably, but who knows? So corn stocks, I can go through them a little bit. Corn stocks, the trade guess was 1,337 million, came in at 1,532, well above what it was expected, which is implying we had one of the smallest feed and residuals during that quarter that we've had in quite some time. And that goes into the ending stocks for 24-25, which leads you to a larger beginning supply for 25-26, and then more stocks at the end there. So bearish from that perspective. As I mentioned, wheat stocks were 77 million above the average trade guess, but almost all of that was due to a upward revision in the crop size of 58 million from what it was previously. So we got plenty of supply here in wheat and corn. Soybeans were really neutral. The trade had expected 323 million bushels of soybeans, and we came in at 316 million. Not much to talk about there. They did some final revisions, up 8 million bushels. Nothing to speak of there on the final crop estimate for the 2024 soybean crop. They did the same for corn. The final for 2024 was revised up 25 million. On harvested acreage. So we keep finding more harvested acreage in both corn, wheat, and soybeans today, which is kind of a yellow flag in the background there, that are we going to find more harvested acreage in 2025? So,
well, I think we've seen the USDA keep revising their corn acres higher on the WASDEs. This looks like we have plenty of stock sitting around. I think that the market's down a little bit since the report came out, but it was down a couple, 3 cents on corn before the report, went down 5 or 6. When we walked back here, it's down 4 or 5. So a little bit of a bearish reaction, but not a whole lot. I wonder if some of that is because the market I think the trade is expecting, when we do get the WASDE, if and when we do get the October WASDE, to see corn yields down again.
Yes, I think that's reasonable. I think the anecdotal evidence I get certainly says soybean yields up at least marginally, maybe half a bushel per acre, and corn anywhere from down a little bit to a disaster that we just haven't realized yet.
Yeah, I don't know if early harvest yields, I keep hearing, are a little disappointing, but it is early. I have been taught and learned the hard way several times not to make too many prognostications about the crop until you get kind of that 40% harvested mark.
Right. So that if you're not going to place a big bet on this, then it probably behooves you not to get too bearish on a stocks report when the crop could be smaller, but we don't know.
Yeah, a couple bushels an acre kind of gets, you lose the same amount of corn that you just found. So
sure, easily or more. Yeah.
Yep. So at any rate, I'm not the wheat guy, but with Scott on here with us and with you, it looked like the buy class, all the major classes of wheat looked like the production was bigger than we thought prior.
Sure. I was worried about spring wheat, and we actually came in 9 million bushels larger there. Hard wheat up 36 million. And again, in that case, we got both a revision upward of 0.6 bushels per acre on the yield overall and 600,000 acres on harvested acreage.
Oh, they found more acreage on hard wheat too.
In wheat in total.
Just wheat in total. I guess I didn't see that. I missed that.
Yeah, so we got kind of the trifecta, as they say, more harvested acreage for corn, soybeans, and wheat. So for now, we're sitting pretty happy here with the kind of supplies we have, and I don't know what it means for price, but we got plenty of stuff right now.
Yeah, you talked about, beans bearish story. We certainly didn't get, the USDA didn't pile on today, but when you look at the export pace that you've pointed out to us on numerous occasions, it's pretty dismal. Export pace for soybeans right now is pretty dismal. Again, that's outside of the scope necessarily of this particular report, but there isn't anything here to defray any of that. That tells us that, that bearish outlook because of the exports. We just got a neutral report on stocks. So,
right. The corn you found relative to expectations almost 200 million bushels more, and I would say somewhere between 75 and 100 million bushels of that will go into feed and residual in the October 9th WASDE. So a little bit there. Corn export demand has been good. I mean, we have corn and wheat export demand has been good despite a complete lack of Chinese business. So there are a few mitigating factors there, but no doubt we're building stocks from expectations right now for all three of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Any other comments from the peanut gallery there?
No. I think this was. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens as we go forward here with this harvest. And to Bill's point, do we find more harvested acres of corn, and does that keep adding to that stockpile of corn? But I think right now, all eyes are kind of on this Chinese trade deal and what happens there with beans, and how do we finish up harvest?
Yeah, I think a lot of the disappointment has with the early harvest has kind of been in the east. The stuff that we've harvested over there, they had a really dry finish. We had less of an issue with that here, and I'm probably guilty of looking in my own backyard, but I think stuff around here looks pretty good. So, sorry about that, Scott.
I was just going to say that I was having a difficult time leading up to this report, coming up with a story, and was maybe leaning on this report to give me a new story. This was not the direction I thought it would go. Number one. Number two, based on what we've got going on with corn, I still think we're in a spot where I can't make much of a story out of wheat. Certainly on the bullish side of the equation, but I just don't know how much farther we can take it down on the bearish side, especially if we don't get a new low in corn. So
who says we're not going to get a new low in corn?
Well,
that was where I was going to go next. So
yeah, I think the lows are in. We saw those 392 back in August, and I think that's it. I think it's it anyway.
What do you think?
I would agree. I think the lows are, and we may go down, put our nose below 410 at least in corn, but there's nothing here that says we have to go find new lows. I think their demand is too good on the export front.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And it doesn't look like Argentina peddled enough corn to probably change that.
We'll make a 20 Argentine peso bet on this.
So I'll bet you 20 Argentine pesos that the lows are not in. I will be the one guy that says the lows are not in. What's 20 Argentine pesos worth?
$1 million.
All right. Well, I think that's what we've got for you today. Thanks for listening.